In most video games, the sidearm has been pushed down to be a last resort option that can barely push out any damage. This is true sometimes for the 1911, though I wanted to test that for myself. A gun crafted by a Christian, as if gifted to him by God. Today we ask the question, how would this gun fare against the worst? Can we beat Call of Duty Black Ops 2 only using the 1911 on veteran difficulty? Let's find out. Here are the challenge rules. First, I must use the weapon chosen, which in this instance is the 1911. This includes no melee, no grenades, or any sort of other damage. Second, if I'm forced to use another weapon such as an RPG to take out a tank, or a forced turret section, which is pretty common in these games, it does not count towards the challenge, obviously. Unless I can prove that the 1911 is able to defeat it, which in most instances it can't. Third, I must play on veteran difficulty. This is for my own torture, so I can't just, play on recruit and then yap about how easy it is to play with a pistol. I'm also low-key a masochist. Finally, if I break any of these rules, I must restart the entire mission from the beginning and not just reload a checkpoint. With that all understood, let's begin. We start off our challenge, of course, booting up a save. I already had a mission because I was doing some testing, but I boot up a new story on veteran difficulty. Skipping past the annoying cutscene, we go to changing our loadout, and I get to see the gun I'll be using for the next 9 hours of my life. For the primary, I just equip the most dog thing I could think about, and then I unequip my grenades. I will allow myself to use Access Kit, because in some instances, it's pretty damn useful. We start off our first mission staring into the eyes of a man who got a little too frisky for Flame Atronach, which for YouTube purposes, I cannot show you all. After that though, I can finally get to using the weapon. Now, there's nothing really notable. At the start, it's pretty useful, two-tapping most enemies. The only noticeable thing I realized straight from the start is we don't have that many bullets. This is going to be a reoccurring issue throughout the entire run. Due to it being a sidearm, COD just doesn't give us a ton of bullets to work with. And admittedly, if you see from the footage, I'm pretty dodged. Like, I have not played COD in a decent minute, so you're gonna see my aim and skills be pretty terrible. Though, for the first half of this mission, we experienced no deaths. When we get to the Modars, I was a little worried I was gonna be able to do this part, but I found out that I actually could. It just took a little bit of getting in the right position, because I couldn't just run up into there without getting absolutely torn to shreds. So I found this way where I've just run to the side of the map, I could get a slight angle, shooting them from behind the rocks. Which, the only notable danger here was the Modar themselves landing on top of me, and I think I got shot once. It seems most of the NPCs were distracted fighting each other. After that though, we get to our first forced turret section. I did try shooting the tanks in 1911, it didn't work out. So instead, I forced myself onto the helicopter and started shooting them. And then in this instant, I used the minigun. And I realized right then and there, I broke the rules. So we're restarting the mission. So while doing this, I'm now adding a counter for how many restarts and soon to be how many deaths we will have. After that, we get back to the air support, which this time I will only use the missiles and focus it solely on the tanks. Using it on the NPCs, of course, would be cheating, because they're not a forced section of the turret part. Once we get that nonsense over, we have to go against some NG trucks. These were fairly easy, because, well, they're just men sitting behind bigger guns. And the 1911 has pretty decent range. I was kind of shocked here whenever I was able to hit them from so far away. So we took them out both pretty quickly. One more turret section later, and we get to perhaps the most iconic part of this mission.
Our journey to victory has begun! Death to the MPLA!
God, that's just so iconic, isn't it? I fucking love this part, dude. There's nothing that could change my mind about this part. Truly goddamn amazing. Once that fun's over though, we get to go to the second part of this mission, which I actually didn't know this was both the same mission. I thought both of these parts were completely separate. But anyways, on to the next part. It was now time to save Woods. Hudson takes us upriver, and with his expert flying skills, flies our ass right into danger. But that's okay, we're the main character. Nothing bad ever happens to us, right? Oh. Well, due to the Hudson being a complete jackass of a pilot, we have to jump our ass off this helicopter. And our first attempt equals our first death. Well, what a fun ass way to die for the first time, ain't it? Well, no point crying over spilt milk. The second time we successfully jump off and get our first cutscene kill, stabbing this guy in the neck. Well, that's another thing I'm gonna have to censor. How fun. Anyways, we pick ourselves up, and it turns out we got bullets, even though we were basically running out on the first part of this mission. So, I'm pretty grateful for that. We start picking off these guys over here, and I get jump scared by a ghost next to me. I try to push myself upwards. I'm pretty sure there was an ammo crate right here, but it almost ended up in our second death. This part was going to be challenging like I thought it would be. After making our way upwards a little bit, we get to the first thing that our access kit gave us a little bit of a boost with. A nice little flak jacket. This was going to help later on in the mission when the helicopter came to blow us up, and also these RPGers on these boats. It honestly saved my life more than once. And since it wasn't a weapon that I was using to kill, it counts, so it was completely allowed in the rules. It was just an advantage that I was capable of using that didn't stop me from using the 1911 or cause me to use any other guns. After 2 more deaths admittedly, I was finally able to wipe out the last of the guys on the boats. It was pretty difficult without being able to use the LMGs on the side, but not impossible, which I'm glad for. The more I get to use the 1911 to bypass certain objectives, the more better the challenge would be. I then walked over to help Hudson open the cargo container containing woods. The 1911 failing to open it, I was forced to use my bare hands, which is kind of disappointing. We found Woods in a absolutely terrible condition that I would have to censor. Upon seeing how he was, I could only guess he just came back from one of Diddy's parties.
Nothing much, just came back from one of Diddy parties, son. You should have been.
Though, unlike other soldiers, Woods was built different, maybe even built stupid, as he was able to survive such hellish and horrible conditions. And we were able to successfully rendezvous him out of that damn container. Now, it was time to get him out of this hellish place and back home. Upon turning around, we would see our next challenge. We have to take out this armored helicopter, and upon testing, it seems the 1911 wasn't going to cut it. I would be forced to use another weapon. It was quite sad. I picked up the Valkyrie launcher and got to work. And surprisingly, this was probably the first time I would ever do such a crazy thing in my life. I not only managed to hit it on the first go, but managed to take it out with one shot. I was honestly impressed with myself. This is pretty damn awesome. How the hell did I ever hit that? I didn't even know that was possible. Do you understand how excited I was when I hit this? It was a pure dopamine rush to my brain. Now it was time for the stealth section. This part right here, I've always been confused about, right? Because right here, Wood starts coughing and they have to cover his mouth. But if you listen, Hudson and Mason are talking so loud. I don't understand this. They talk so loud. I don't understand why Wood's coughing is the issue when he's doing like, when Hudson's like, okay bro, we gotta be quiet, we gotta be stealthy, okay? And then this little kid running up and grabbing his AK, somehow not seeing the 3 grown, bloody, smelly men right next to him. I just don't get it. Now, I also don't think it's that crazy to say that I got past the stealth section incredibly easily, because it's in a very easy stealth section where you just wait for Hudson to be like, okay, let's go, and then you just follow him and then crouch down whenever you have to crouch. It was honestly probably the easiest stealth I've ever done in video game history. But of course we got that out of the way, and now it's time for the next section. Now right here was another access point, but this gave me bear traps, so I wasn't going to pick it up. I knew from previous runs that it gives you bear traps, but right here we also got some more ammunition, which maxed me out, which as of right now got me the 140, which is pretty damn good. And now we go to my next death. See, this is where you meet the main antagonist of the game, sitting right there in that chair. So I decided, you know what, be funny, what if I try to take him out? No secret, no Easter egg, no nothing, you just die. It's kind of boring. This time we don't shoot Menendez in the head and we sneak in through his back window and interrupt him talking to Afghanistan about getting more trucks from Toyota. Which is of course not based on real events at all, and Toyota would never sell anything to terrorists. Of course, after interrupting him, Menendez shows us his favorite magic trick. I rated like an 8 out of 10 to be fair. But we make our way down the hill back to the woods, and now it's time for a pretty difficult section. I struggled a little bit here. It was probably the hardest part of this mission, even though it was only like a couple of deaths. So the reason I struggled so much is as the game prepares you for this part the entire first half of the mission, providing you with materials you're able to gain access to throughout it, such as the bear traps earlier. The bear traps are actually very useful for holding back a large amount of enemies as they rush you, Hudson, and Woods. It did take me a good couple of attempts, but I did manage to get past this part, realizing that I don't need to actually kill the enemies, but just survive long enough that the next part activates. So after a bunch of avoiding several RPGs, several MG trucks, all kinds of grenades, it was terrible, we finally got to the last part, and I wait for Hudson to get in position so I can activate the ending cutscene. It was just amazing. I felt so happy getting this over with. Even though this would probably be the easiest compared to all the other missions, this truly showed how difficult this was going to be. As the cutscene plays and we get to Woods loaded onto the chopper, we get perhaps the hardest picture of all time. And no, it's not Hudson. It's Woods. Look at that beautiful bastard. Using the 1911 to get that amazing shot. I'm about to put that as my background. Hold up.
You can't kill me.
A full 12 minutes into this video, and we can finally go on to mission 2. Now mission 1 wasn't that bad, 7 deaths and 1 restart. It's honestly kinda rough compared to some missions, but you know, whatever. We start off mission 2 Solarium, pretending to be Spider-Man, with our new partner Harper. We are the son of Mason, also known as Mason, or Section, as our teammates are going to call us. I guess they just didn't want us to also be called Mason and cause confusion in the game, but I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. After Harper tells me his opinions on life, we all do a pact together and then jump off the cliff in unison. Of course with wingsuits on, not that we would do anything crazy. After a pretty boring wingsuit section, which we kinda had control in, we get to crawl up and learn about the new enemy type. In Black Ops 2, only during the futuristic missions, you get to learn about the invisible guys, which is just Halo invisibility. They're like kinda invisible unless you're looking for them, and even less so in the rain. I don't know what was the plan here, but I mean, it's cool, I guess. So the whole point of this mission is that we're raiding an enemy base. This section didn't give me that hard of a problem. I think I died once at the beginning. But yeah, just some invisible dudes, which I could easily take care of with my 1911. As we got up here, there was another thing I could mess with, which was the drone. I chose not to mess with this access because I couldn't do anything with it, because you just get access to the drone's minigun, which of course would be cheating. I can't shoot with the drone. So I just kind of ignored it. After some more struggling, we get to the ruins, and we find sentry guns, which turn out to be super effective against 1911s. I don't know what's so amazing about 45 ACP, but it just pierced through robots. So I think I'm gonna start counting robot kills in the other corner. After wiping out all the enemies in the area, we got to this section, where Harp would blow up ancient infrastructure that probably had some sort of historical value. We ignore what property damage we cause and make our way inside, which I start realizing there's probably a lot more damage than we have ever caused, done by the other guys. Including this. What the hell? What is this, Vault Tech? I was so confused when I saw this for the first time whenever I was a kid. I was like, why the hell did they build this in ancient Mayan ruins? I mean, I guess it's a hidden base and all, but why? As we use our Neuralinks to open the door, we see another access. This is going to be something extremely useful. It gives me an invisibility suit, which, like the flak suit earlier, I'm going to count which is completely against the rules. If it doesn't cause me to do any damage, I consider it okay. We also got some ammo here, which was greatly appreciated. I was worried I was gonna run out. After that shootout section, we get to an elevator where we go into another shootout section. I'm gonna start briefing over most of the missions because most of them don't have many details to go over besides shoot people and something kind of boring happening. I mean, I'm trying not to make this video super long because I can't go in detail about everything, but here we get another robot kill. Now here's something interesting. I'm going to be allowing these types of access, which is giving us robot companions to help us. Now the reason I'm allowing this is because it's not too different than, say, if I had Harper kill someone, because on multiple occasions I had my allies help me out because I was running out of bullets or I had to push past a section I really couldn't get past. So letting these robots be available to me isn't that crazy, because if I ban the robot, I'm also going to ban Harper, which isn't an option. We didn't open a box to have a white scientist come out, who I'm pretty sure was an American, which obviously left Mason and Harper in shock. But this guy, he's pretty important, as he tells us some things that we would certainly need to know. Of course I didn't trust him, because he smelled like the type of guy to be on the Epstein list, so I kept my gun pointed at his head whenever this cutscene was playing. This of course led into another shootout section, which wasn't that hard, to be honest. Most of these shootout sections of this mission wasn't that difficult. I didn't struggle that much. Though I did try to pick up a shield here, which ended in my death, so add the counter. After that, we could finally talk to the scientist about what Menendez has been planning. And it turns out it was something worse than I could ever imagine. He was going to infect the entirety of the US security system with brain rot. With this, he could take over entire drone force. It was truly jaw-dropping and horrifying.
Skibidi entanglement. This single device has more processing power than your entire Sigma Giat infrastructure.
Oh, for real? The hell?
The rumors around the Goon Cave is that Menendez plans to use it to turn all the Sigmas into Betas. I heard talk about a Giat named Karma. It may be a name for the weapon to turn all the Sigmas into Betas. But if Menendez gets his hands on this sort of technology, there'll be no Sigmas left to stop his pheromone mix.
After that yap session, it was finally time to continue onward. Another simple shootout section. Now, it's just this over and over again, but the same infrastructure. So, I'll show you some clips here and there, but nothing noteworthy to go over. Is this the definition of autism? Because I got distracted for a solid like 5 to 10 minutes, just straight shooting this chair over and over again. Honestly, this mission wasn't that hard. It was probably the easiest out of all the missions I played. We finally got to the end, and we did the ending cutscene where you just explained to Briggs the whole plan, and that was it. That was the second mission, Solarium. So, if you can count, you would tell that we only died 4 times, no restarts or anything, and we did get 3 robot kills, which is now something we're gonna do. Our next mission takes us back to the past with another story of Woods and Mason. Now this mission right here, I wanted to pull my hair out from this mission. I'll explain it more in detail when it comes up, but oh my god, did I struggle with this mission. This was truly the step up. It's like whenever you get out of middle school and go into high school and get slapped with fucking level 2 algebra. Like, I don't want to do this type of shit, gang. What happened to us doing 1 + 1 and like 2 × 2? It was not that crazy. Before we continue on to the actual shooty part, I want to show one of the rawest cutscenes in this game. I absolutely love this. That you just walk up to this guy and just rip the sword out of him. That is raw as hell. Now obviously, I'm not going to be able to use the sword, but I just had to see it. After that, me and Woods make our way to Saddam Hussein's place, and yap to him for a minute. Apparently he needs help pushing back the Russians, which turned out to be a lot more difficult than I would imagine. This part right here. This isn't even the worst part, but this part right here, oh my god. In this part, some bulletproof vehicles pull up, and you have to deal with these enemies, and they're all over the ruins. And you know, there's like 80 other allies with you. You're with an entire army. So I was thinking, oh, they would have my back, right? They're all standing in front of me. Surely they can handle it. No, they can't handle it. And I have died at least like 4 or 5 times in this one section alone. After slamming my hand into my desk and poor keyboard a good couple times, I finally got to the ammo depot and was able to pick up the RPG to take out both of these tanks. I already knew they were bulletproof, I already tried. So, it just felt so good to finally get these motherfuckers. Like, this was truly a difficult ass section. I then make my way back to the front of the mission like the objective says, thinking that, you know, all the Russians are wiped out. So I make my way past so many allies, and as I run here, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you know how mad I was in this instant? I was fuming because I just bashed my head against the wall at least 12 times trying to get past these damn BTRs, right? And that happens to me? Thank God the checkpoint was right here. But holy hell. We then make our ways onto the horses, which honestly don't have that great of controls, so I struggled a little bit hitting the tanks with the RPG riding them. It wasn't that bad, honestly, it was just annoying to control them. This section right here, this goddamn section. Just take a wild guess how many deaths I took in this section. You guessed? 12. I died 12 times running this strip right here. Because there's 2 Hinds, a BTR, so many enemies, and competent allies. I died so many times to absolute bullshit that I was raging. My caps key is still missing. I don't know where it went. So if any of you find a caps key from an old ass 2000 HP keyboard, let me know. Finally, after that rage inducement, we get to the cookies and milk of this mission. Something that looks like it's going to be probably the coolest boss fight of all time. Nope. It's just a quick time event and a cutscene. Seriously? You give us this really cool cutscene showing off this massive tank and it's just a cutscene again? You just ride forward, do a little quick time event to push a horse off you and it's another cutscene? Really? Like, yeah, I guess it's a cool cutscene because it shows a villain from the first game, like one of the dudes from the Epstein list that Reznov wants you to kill. So I guess it's like somewhat okay, but come on man, this could have been like a really cool section. Now, I don't have many regrets, but I do regret not shooting him in the head, because this would have been honestly the coolest 1911 kill I would have got the entire run. But I just, for some reason, just didn't want to take the shot. I wasn't planning on getting the good ending, because getting the good ending was basically impossible in Veteran, let alone Veteran with only using a certain gun. So, yeah, it's just a missed opportunity. Woods then proves himself better than me again, as he takes out another cool kill with the 1911. And then we get betrayed by Saddam Hussein. Wow, I found this quite shocking, considering America is such good friends with Afghanistan. After that encounter, we get thrown into the desert, and our favorite Russian comes save the day once again. Reznov picks us up and tells us, "Don't worry bro, your challenge isn't over yet. Time to go bang your head against a wall some more." 23 deaths. That was actual torture, but that's what you expect when you play on Veteran difficulty. Now we have another mission, but this I'm going to skip over. You're probably wondering why? Because this is a Strike Force mission. So I can purposely fail this to just get past it and skip past it, but the reason I can't play this mission is because I have absolutely no way to access the 1911. And even if I play it from the sky, it's basically impossible, especially on Veteran difficulty. These missions are extraordinarily hard. So I'm just gonna skip past it and purposely fail it. Time and fate. Now, why does this mission have such a nice place in my mind? Well, you probably caught it right there. Look at what gun I equipped. The Browning HP. Yep, I equipped the wrong gun. And I was so mad when I found out I had to do this entire mission all over again. I'm going to add how many deaths there are and the restart because I haven't even counted yet. So I'll be right back. So, of course, I had to do this mission all over again once I found out that I actually did it with the wrong gun. So count a restart, but also maybe another death because there's 13 deaths throughout that mission. But I don't think they count. I'm going to say they don't count because I was using the wrong pistol and I already died with the actual right pistol whenever I did it again. So 13 times I did die with the Browning HP. It's honestly a pretty bad pistol, but you get so many bullets to shoot down range. It's kind of like but yeah. So there's numbers if you wanted them. Anyways, we start the actual mission correctly with the right guns. And we go to Menendez and learn about his weird ancestral tendencies. Like, this man was super obsessed with his sister the entire time. Like, we never talked about a wife, we never talked about anyone else. It was always about his sister. And like, look at this cutscene. Is this not freaky? Like, is this not like red alarms going off in your head? Like, this is kind of like, what the hell, dude? I'm gonna keep it 100. Anyways, after cuddling each other, the police start knocking on Menendez's door, trying to stop him from doing something that he can never come back from. They then rush Menendez and give him charges so that now he has to greet all his neighbors every time he moves into a new neighborhood. But of course, something they didn't know was that Menendez is a Sigma, and he saw red when he got mad. So when this guy touched his sister, he had to take him out the censored way. This next part I'm going to brief over because it's just Menendez's rage part. So this part we take control of Menendez and we get to kill a bunch of people, but we only get access to a shotgun and a machete, and neither of those apply to our challenge. Now I did try running past everyone on my first go, but I found out that doesn't work at all. So I was kind of just forced to use the weapons. I'm just going to consider this a forced turret part. So skipping over that, we finally get in control of Mason, and I get to finally have my gun again. Now, this mission proved pretty difficult. Was because the enemies? Not really. There's a good couple of enemies, but we also have some decently competent teammates this time, to be fair. Our main issue, 100%, was bullets. Like I said, ammunition is very low, and if you get onto a mission that doesn't have many ammo depots, it's just hell. So I was struggling. Now, I don't know if other people feel this way about this mission, but I felt it was a pretty close quarters mission. Even though it's very outdoorsy with design, I had to get pretty close in some situations to actually even advance. Like, some enemies were just sitting in spots and I just had to get up and close and personal. It was terrible. Finally, after a lot of fighting, I got out of the jungle area and we started making our way towards the houses. Now this section was kind of hard because there's like 4 or 5 snipers up on this balcony, so I just had to take them all out with the 1911. I'm pretty sure there's an ammo depot here to the side, so I wasn't too worried about ammunition right here, but it was quite difficult because I just had to keep sniping them from afar with a pistol. Though, with some determination and some decent aim, I managed to get ourselves up here. Now, I knew there was a couple people in this house due to some previous runs, which I had lost because of that. We make our way upstairs, which take us to the next cutscene.
No, can't be. What? Fucking Noriega! His men were supposed to secure Menendez. Menendez!
After Woods triggering his PTSD, we get to our next access point. Now this one was pretty important because it gave me access to an ammo depot, which made this next section a whole hell of a lot easier. Of course I would ignore the explosives that it gave me here because, well, that's cheating, but ammunition, and it's just a godsend really. Now I didn't suffer any deaths in this next shootout section because I already had to redo this. And also, I can show here, every time I had a grenade thrown at me, I try to throw it as high in the sky or as far away from everybody as possible, to not accidentally get a grenade kill. But yeah, since I already had to do this with a way worser gun, it was just pretty easy. Now in this next section, me and Woods are tasked to go storm Walter White's basement. Now, I wasn't sure what was in this access point, so I checked. Nothing useful towards me. But the ammo depot here was going to be helpful with this next shootout, of course. My nose may burn, but I feel so alive right now. We push forward and find out they're burning documents, so I quickly shoot them all and rush in to grab whatever I could find. Which turns out to be a CIA folder about something involving September 11th, 2001. Good thing we found this so that would never happen. We pull ourselves out of the Has-Been Hotel fan's basement, and Woods over here starts clamoring some random dude. I don't know what's wrong with him, but I think he was thinking about his son while remembering that he didn't have any alcohol at home. One insane cutscene later where this dumbass throws a grenade at not only our ally, but a man we were told to capture, not kill, and it only ends up killing his sister. Now, we don't know that for sure, because there's one body bag, but I mean, it's pretty damn obvious from right here that we didn't kill Menendez, but come on, man, like what the hell. Even though I had to do this mission twice, it wasn't actually that hard, to be fair. We only died about 5 times, so plus you can add that other 13 from the previous run, which was the learning curve. I died in a lot of dumb ways, which if you had learned the map beforehand, you can avoid. So you can add that 13 if you're that kind of guy, but I'm personally not gonna add it. Now for this next mission, we take back control of a section, which is, you know, Mason's son. Now this mission also wasn't that hard. I think quite literally, when it came to me getting kills, I killed like 4 enemies. This mission isn't very combat intensive, as it is just surviving. There's a slight stealth section, and there's also a section where you just follow the objective, so I wasn't too worried about it. Here's the little bit of combat I got of me, which is just fighting these guys out here. This is the only combat that I use the 1911 with, because there's a lot of force turret sections in this part, and it's kinda boring. So here's the gunshots, but if we skip ahead, we can also see the stealth section was also not that crazy. So here's the whole lore aspect of this mission, which is just spying on Menendez. I'm gonna skip over this because we quite literally do nothing for the next like 10 minutes except for just listen to him yap, and I personally didn't care. Of course, after this we get another section I want to skip because it's just a force turret section. Yeah, we just hold out for another like 5 minutes just shooting people. There was nothing I could do to avoid this. I tried skipping past it. It didn't work in my testing, so I, you know, just embraced it. It's just a force turret. You just gotta shoot people until the game tells you, okay, it's time to go. Now we get to one of my personal favorite parts of this mission, the driving.
Look right there, free.
Drift! Oh, shit, I ain't gonna lie, B. I ain't got my license for this boat. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, shit, y'all, it's beautiful.
Of course, due to my expert driving skills, I burnt off half of Harper's face and then drive right into the Chinese hands. Well, today sucks. Finally, that mission was over with, and how many deaths was that? 2? Well, that's not that crazy. It was honestly a really easy stealth mission, so we just move on to this one. Now this one's gonna be tough. This one I could equip the suppressor, but I didn't want to because it took down a tick of damage, which was already tough because we're dealing with a pistol here. Now I'm gonna spoil it. Our main problem was ammunition. We had no bullets because we were basically sneaking onto Disneyland to find what the terrorists were up to and to find the Karma super weapon. After we successfully sneak an entire brick of Colombian coke past airport security alongside my god-blessed weapon, we would separate from Harper for a little bit and be with our other teammate, which I always forget the name of. Now, one part that's super hilarious about this section is that they give you suppressors because this is supposed to be a stealth mission. Even the enemies use suppressors, right? But nope, while my teammate pulls out a suppressed pistol, I pull out my pure 1911 and just blast them away. I'm putting this in the video because I think this spider is just so adorable, dude. It's honestly a really cute section. Now this part right here, every single time I died, I get flashed in the eyes with this bright red laser. You probably can't tell from the video, but whenever I was playing this, I felt like my real life retina was being scanned. And this is such a close section that has so many enemies pounding me with automatics that I didn't know what to do. It took me several attempts to try to figure out what to do in this situation, because I couldn't move backwards, so I just sort of hid And then I realized I could just hide behind my teammate and body shield him, and then rely on him to kill the enemies. After that, we hop on the metaverse and look for the Karma Gyat. Well, we tried weapons, we tried defense systems, we tried everything, and we find out Karma is quite literally a woman. Now this section right here, oh my god was I fuming to get past these guys. I may not remember what my teammate's name is, but he is utterly useless compared to Harper. I was fending for myself, already running super low on ammo, with no ammunition boxes anywhere. Let me just explain to you how happy I was when this section was over. I was struggling so hard that I got up and made myself dinner before continuing this play section. Yes, I got out of my chair and took an actual break to calm down, because it may be only 5 deaths, but every time I died, it was because I got so close to getting out of that hellhole, and I just had to restart from the beginning. Even if I died right here, I would have restarted straight from the beginning at the beginning of that section. I was so happy when this was over. And this, I want you to take a look at this. Look at my magazine. 3 bullets. That's right, I finished this part with 3 bullets remaining. If I didn't get ammunition from cutscenes, I would have been cooked. But this was truly so difficult, dude. After that, we get to go to the Vanilla Unicorn from GTA. We don't get to see the things you get to see in that game, but it was okay. Who invited Epstein to Diddy's party? This is just a party ruiner right here. Look at him, bro. He's upset there's no minors. But this brings us into another forced section where I'm forced to use the automatic pistol. I really wish you'd used whatever pistol you had equipped as your sidearm instead of this one, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. The mission continues after the bombing of Disneyland, and we get another access point. We get the electric fisticuffs, I guess? I don't know what they're called, but does anyone genuinely use these? Like, unironically. I know you can also get them in zombies, like do they do anything? Is these like genuinely useful at all? This next section isn't that crazy, it's just basic shooting inside like a mall. We do get access to an ammo depot at the end of the mall, so I wasn't too worried about it. This is the only part of the mission that we actually get access to an ammo depot, which I really wish wasn't, but you know. Once we get to the other side of the mall, we get to the part where we get to shoot the Falco. Now I really wanted to shoot this guy and not let him escape, so I pushed him very hard, which made it very tough. I died a good handful of times just trying to kill this dude. And as you can tell, once I finally do kill him, the happiness in my soul is insane. I run up to his dead corpse and absolutely start mag dumping him, man. I was so happy to get this part over with. Well, there's that mission over with 17 deaths. This was certainly one of the more harder ones. We also hit the 50 death mark, which is interesting, I guess. Now this mission is unique. It's another flashback, but we get to play as Woods instead of Mason. It's about time we get to play as someone besides the main family members. Now, as we walk up to the house, we hear the amazing love of an American marriage. Did you know most marriages divorce? Isn't that tragic? But of course we fix it the main way men do, with beer. We get drunk with McKnight and Mason, and we learn about our mission. We're going to put cocaine and hooker photos all up in the Presidente's hotel room. But of course, we have to get there first, which is where the shooty part of this mission comes in. We have to go across an airport to get to a hotel, which is kind of interesting map design, but I mean, it's alright. Once we get to the actual airport part, there's an access that I didn't know what it would give us. It gave me the grenades that sound like bullets are being shot. Now, I was very iffy about using these, because they don't hurt anybody, but I feel like they give me a weird advantage. I don't know. I didn't use them because I just felt like they would break the rules. Once we get inside the hangar, we get access to another, access, which gives us a flak jacket. Now, I've already stated my thoughts on that, and it was pretty damn useful to be honest, because we have to fight RPGs a little bit after this. This part right here though, the plane part, did give me a good decent bit of trouble. I don't know why I struggled so hard at this area. I was a little worried because I thought I had to blow up the plane, but it turns out if you just wait it out, somebody with an RPG pulls up to blow it up. So I didn't have to, you know, be forced to use an RPG again. Besides that though, yeah, I got a couple of deaths here. Finally though, we make it to the hotel. It was finally time to keep up with, I don't really know how to say his name, and I don't want to attempt in case I missay his name and end up saying something a lot worse.
This is not the deal. Call your goon.
We are then forced to escort him across the city, which I handled these guys quite quickly, and he comes running at me and oh no. Oh no. Oh man. This mission wasn't that hard, so it wasn't that big of a bummer, but it still sucks that you have to redo things. So we're back here again, and I can prove it by how I killed these guys differently. As you can see, yeah, it's kind of just upsetting. But yeah, now we're transporting him across the town, and to be honest, 90% of this part, I don't know where Mason went. Mason just disappeared at this dude because I took a completely opposite path than him, and we just got separated. Which, it probably would have been better if I stuck with him, because I ended up dying 7 more times here. Because I got so lost, and I just kept running in different paths, and just got blatantly gunned down. It was horrible. I was also really worried I would run out of bullets at one part, but I ended up finding a bunch of ammo boxes, so we were all good there. We had one final escort area where we just had to escort them through some hallways while getting shot at and gunned down by enemies. It was more just a running instead of fighting section, so not that crazy. But finally, after all that, it was time for what this mission was known for. A moment that would honestly shock and give most COD players PTSD for what they do in these next moments. It was time to snipe Menendez. Of course, I couldn't kill him because this was not a 1911 I was sniping with, so I aimed for the legs, taking out the first leg, and then once he fell over, taking out the next. It was one sure way to make sure that he didn't die. After that situation, we took their family to a fun trip to Legoland. It doesn't seem that Mason quite liked it very much, but you know, I thought it was pretty alright. Finally completing our last flashback mission with only 14 deaths and 1 restart. Well, that wasn't too bad, but now it's all hell to here. These last few missions are probably the worst that I would have to endure. Not because I don't think I died as many times as some missions, but I truly did not like these missions. These last few ones just felt like slamming my head against the wall, even though I've already said that like 20 times. It's just, oh my god. This mission we start off as Farid, which is the American spy working against Menendez. Basically our guy on the inside, who is funnily enough Menendez's right-hand man. I was a little worried we wouldn't get our loadout, but luckily we do with Farid, because I know for the first half of this mission we're him, but the second half of the mission we're Alex Mason. So it was like, what if they give me like an AK or something, but no, everything's fine. But this part right here was truly torturous. I hated this part. I just couldn't, man. This was truly horrible. I took a break between recordings. That's how bad it was. I took a break in between recordings. I went to bed from how many times I got mad at this. Eventually, after 5 deaths, I found this access, which gave me an invis suit. And this was truly a gift from God. With this, I could actually sneak my way across the battlefield and not deal with the literal hundreds of enemies. I was so happy when I found this. Not to say that it was just the easy card. I died 10 more times on my way there. Oh my god, was this difficult. I was fuming. But we made it, and I finally got to the next cutscene. Now, if you were watching, you know exactly what I'm gonna pick here. I'm going to try to shoot Menendez, cause that doesn't make me kill anybody. I obviously couldn't kill anyone because this gun is not a 1911, so Harper gets to live another day. As I die. We start the second half of this mission off with a force turret section. Ooh, we love these. We love these, yeah. I already tried in testing to not do this part, but you kind of had to. So I blew everybody up with a turret so I could finally jump down and use my 1911. Now this next session isn't that crazy. We're just pushing across the map as a shooter like most of the other campaign maps. But, you know, here's some clips here and there of me using the 1911. It definitely got a lot easier when I found out that I still have the invisibility suit. Now, I don't know how that works, because technically Farid was wearing it, but whatever. I'm not complaining or anything, but soon I finally got across the map into the final section, where we can finally secure Menendez. It wasn't that crazy, to be honest, but also, suspiciously enough, Menendez was sitting here. Now, this should have been a horrible sign to anybody, like, hey, red flag, the bad guy's just surrendering, but you know. Even though that mission was pretty terrible, I honestly had a hard time doing it. We only suffered 16 deaths, which is a lot, but considerably kind of average. Now, this mission wasn't too bad. This is whenever we stormed the, was it USS Obama? And I get a couple more machine kills here. It's nothing really noteworthy. I do struggle a little bit on some parts, but I'll talk about the noteworthy stuff once it comes up. We make our way to the brig to try to deactivate the security systems that are gunning down everybody in the ship, which obviously is not a good thing. It seems Menendez has hacked the system somehow while also being taken in here. It's almost like it was suspicious for him to be surrendering himself or something. But besides that, we get to another access point, which I use to disable the turret in the middle of the other room. I won't count this as a robot kill since we're technically taking it over to use. I don't shoot it myself, but I exit out the screen and I'm pretty sure that activates the turret to shoot other people. Of course, after that, we make ourselves into the brig, which is one of the, probably the halfway point of this mission. This mission's pretty bland. It's not that crazy. It's a lot of tight corridor shooting. It's mostly just close combat, so it's nothing too notable. And due to that, I just skipped ahead, because I only died once. It's, like I said, pretty easy, pretty normal. I just have to be careful around corners, but since I'm using a pistol, I can just slam rounds down range. Nothing wild. We then get to the part where Menendez tries to get his name off the registry, so he doesn't have to greet his neighbors all the time. And his little spy kicks in. This part shocked me whenever I was a kid. It was truly interesting the first time you see it, but every time else you kind of really notice it with the ways he talks. And bitch gets domed. Bump. Oh damn! Oh my god, why would he do that? Oh shit. Well, at this part it's honestly pretty easy to avoid. You could just not shoot. So I don't even have to shoot him in the lake here. If you just don't shoot, the general charges you and Salazar just knocks his ass out. Oh my god, I remembered his name. It's Salazar. Holy fuck. No way. Menendez then hacks into the CIA classified files, learning that several notable figures such as Squilliam were part of the Epstein situation, but had their names expunged for security reasons. And it seems the CIA was also deposited around $2 billion around this time. Interesting. After teabagging Nerdy McNerdface, we make our way up the elevator, into probably the hardest part of this entire mission. So in this part, we have to make our way across the deck of the USS Obama to get into a VTOL to get the hell off this ship, because it's going into the sea and there's nothing stopping it. I died about 6 more times here. Every time I would inch myself forward, I would just get immediately gunned down, and I was getting mad. At one point, I stood up and just took a 5 to 10 minute break. There's a whole part of my recording where it's just alt-tabbed out of the game, so I know I was pissed. But we ended up making it at the end, so...
You've got power!
Mission 9 over with only 11 deaths. It wasn't that bad of a mission. It was, like I said, repetitive, and the most I struggled with was on deck, so nothing crazy. But now it's time for the mission that broke me. This mission right here. I will get into detail once it comes up, but oh my god, this truly was the breaking point of this entire run. This is when my sanity dropped below any man should ever go. I was beyond rage that I lost it. I was lost. This mission starts off of us escorting the Madam Presidente. Yep, that's right. This world has a female president. No wonder it's went to shit. My bad, my bad. Sorry guys. Feminist rights and whatnot, whatever those blue-haired women say. A little bit of drunk driving later and we end up in another turret section. Wonderful, I just love these. We didn't get saved by female Maverick from Top Gun 2, just like Ghostbusters 2 when they made the remake with women for some reason. Okay, on the low-key I'm making too many women jokes. Y'all are beautiful queens, even though there's probably no women even watching this. But besides that, we make our way onto the ground and I can finally start shooting people with the gun this entire challenge is based around. I of course failed to protect the ambassador, cause why do I care? But besides that, I get the president forward and we get into another driving section? Weird. Also, while I'm recklessly driving in the school zone, I just want to say, hey, we broke 100 deaths. So if your bets were under 100, well, you just lost. So, sucks to be you, dumbass. We didn't get out of that car driving way with the only way we know how. Crashing horrifically. Is there really no other way we can finish a car driving section besides just crashing? Like, holy hell. Once we get out of the car and actually on our feet again, there's this access like right outside of it, where I release some drones. These are going to be pretty helpful. But, you know, I already told you that I don't really count the robots. Now this part right here, where I have to destroy these things, right? This first one I got lucky, because the enemy's grenades and our people seem to have destroyed it itself. But then there's a second one that comes in, and this second one was my downfall. It was my Moses, I guess. I don't even know how to explain it. This is it. This was truly the thing that broke me. I don't know what made me rage so hard. Maybe it was the hours upon hours of constant veteran with only a 1911. Maybe it was because the last few missions felt like absolute dog shit every time I died. But this part just made me like tweak out whenever I just couldn't kill this thing. I dumped so many mags and so many deaths into this that I just started tweaking. I couldn't take it anymore. And it was this death right here. This death. It was about 3 in the morning and I tweaked. I grabbed my keyboard with both my hands and slammed it against my desk 4, maybe 5 times. And I got back to it again. I was raging. I was worried my neighbors were gonna hear me. But even though I was tweaking and screaming and shaking, I still kept headbutting this thing until I ran into the truck. And I learned something. I couldn't use my F key to reload. And then I couldn't use my S key to walk backwards. I had broken my keyboard. And that was the end of this recording. Now, I was pretty down. I thought, damn, I was probably gonna have to stop playing the game, maybe even stop the challenge. But then, someone very close to me reminded me something. I had an Xbox controller. And with a good night's sleep, I woke up the next day determined not to let this challenge beat me, but to beat this challenge. And I plugged in that damn controller and I got back to it. When I tell you my setup was a controller, an on-screen keyboard, and a mouse, it was exactly that. And I finished this challenge with my Xbox controller. So if you see those controls come up on screen, that is exactly why. And all that rage for nothing, cause I tried. I sure as hell tried blowing up that thing with nothing but a 1911. I shot at least 20 or 30 magazines into that, refilling every time I got low. And goddamn, it still stood. So finally, I had to use the RPG to move on. I've saved some soldiers from burning to death, and I felt good. A smile was on my face again, and I was determined. I wasn't gonna let this game let me down anymore. No more raging, no more beating anything. I would keep my head calm and I would finish this. As I be damned, I made it to the jet part. Not raging once, not even dying once. I wouldn't let them take me. And I watched that jet pilot fall out of her, and I got in. For I was gonna be Maverick. I was gonna be the man. I was gonna be the main character. Okay, enough glazing. The jet part is pretty goddamn boring. Like, I don't really care about this. You literally just like zoom around and spam buttons. It's nothing great. But after that, I finally meet with Harper, and it was time. Time for the last mission. Time to finally get Menendez and to call this challenge finished. And I was gonna do it. And I was going to put a bullet right in that man's head. After a quick skydive, we make it to the ground. And I knew this was going to be the hardest mission yet. This is the part when the game throws everything it has at you. Every single unit type, every single robot, everything it can throw, it will throw. Because this was the final stand. This is where it all ends. And the first part of this mission is getting inside. The outside is absolutely covered by a ton of snipers, RPGs, and just a ton of men in general. You're also going to get absolutely attacked by drones, robots. But that didn't stop me, and I made my way inside towards the entrance. Now, actually getting inside the building was kind of a struggle. I died twice trying to get inside. But besides all that, I finally got in, and we can make our way even closer to Menendez. And if you've been paying attention, I have been racking up robot kills. These little bastards haven't got any mercy from me, especially considering how truly effective 45 ACP is against these little bastards. After shooting more men with this godly caliber, I finally make my way up to the control room, where we attempt to stop Menendez before he truly destroys the world. But we were just too late.
My console crashed. What do you got? Can you get in?
Ron Menendez is transmitting a live webcast. He's on right now.
Gooning is sinful, and we all pay for it. Los Angeles was the edge for their gooning, and I phantom taxed it. Madame Presidente, your gooning machines are no more. Your Sigmas are crippled, and now none can stop pheromone maxers.
Menendez shows us his magic trick for the second time, and now we have to escape this building before it completely collapses on top of us. But of course, racing against the clock to catch Menendez before he escapes. After killing many men, I realized I didn't have enough bullets to shoot all the guys, so I ran. I ran as fast as I could through that part, staring at men who could have easily gunned me down in seconds, but somehow, even on veteran difficulty, they didn't kill me quick enough. And there I went into the next cutscene to finally get my hands on the man I've been searching this entire campaign. And of course, what would the ending be than one last forced weapon usage? I'm forced to use the Cap 40, which I'm not a big fan of. But we get to Menendez, I stab his ass, and then I'm given a choice. And I realize in this moment, I couldn't kill him, because this gun was not a 1911. So I spare his life, and me and him take one final walk as I finish this campaign. So, could I beat Call of Duty Black Ops 2 with only the 1911 on veteran difficulty? No, of course not, because there's a bunch of forced turret sections. Why'd I ever be able to do that? But did I at least try? Yeah, I tried. It only took one keyboard and one hell of a will. I was super pissed. It's just, it's so terrible. It's, oh my god, dude. I was absolutely fuming from this challenge. But, I guess that's the whole point. Thank you all for watching. Truly, if you stuck around this long and watched this long ass video, which I didn't mean to be this long, thank you. And, well, let me know if you want to see more content like this. I plan on doing more challenge videos and more videos soon of different games and different content. But I might be doing another Call of Duty run. Maybe it won't be my next video because I'm definitely gonna take a break, but I was planning on doing it with the Olympia, which is gonna be hell. But in the end, we had 3 restarts, 126 deaths, and 17 robot kills. Huh. Well, I was really hoping I wouldn't go over the hundreds. I thought I would be better than that, but no. Anyways, yeah. Thank y'all for watching. And if you're wondering, yeah, Mason lives if you shoot him in the leg twice. Just FYI.